I researched The Quarantine on Aggression. The Quarantine on Aggression was a speech delivered by Franklin Delano Roosevelt on October 5, 1937. In this speech, he outlined ideas such as the spread of aggression in Europe and growing conflict with countries such as Germany that were mobilizing and preparing for war. During this time period, there were debates about whether or not the United States should involve themselves in the conflicts of Europe or continue to promote isolationism. Isabella will discuss that later. In his speech, he vaguely alluded to the fact that the United States may have to become involved in the growing conflict and that they could not turn a blind eye to aggression because it could affect their own nation's stability. After this speech, it became a main tipping point that pushed Americans towards wanting to become involved in the conflict in Europe. I also researched the sinking of the Panay. The Panay was a U.S. river gunboat that was on the Yangtze River in China. On December 12, 1937, only a few months after the Quarantine on Aggression speech, that boat was sunk by Japanese bombers along with 3 Standard Oil tankers that were traveling along with the Panay for protection. Immediately after the bombing and after Franklin Delano Roosevelt caught word, he demanded an apology from the Japanese, saying that it was a planned attack on the United States. Because of this, it increased the anti-Japanese sentiment and helped President Franklin Delano Roosevelt take a firmer stand toward Japan. In 1938, a moral embargo stopped the sale of aircraft to Japan while increasing the U.S. Navy, fearing that a conflict with Japan was inevitable. As seen, this incident called for stronger measures to maintain neutrality throughout the world. To conclude, there were not only the physical events such as the sinking of the Panay and the Quarantine on Aggression speech, but it was mainly the undertones that were the strongest. With the sinking of the Panay was sunk, but the main factor was that it increased racism in the United States against the Japanese and increased propaganda promoting against the Japanese. With the Quarantine on Aggression speech, it promoted the ideas that America would have to be involved in the growing conflict in Europe.